Welcome to the Angler Talk Podcast with Chris and Aaron. Brought to you by FishingMagicianTV.com.
I challenge thee.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris and Aaron back with another episode of Angler Talk. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Good, buddy. Good. Looking forward to this guest we got, man. We got a great lineup, dude. We got some super into it now people, if you want to call it that way. You know, people that are on the water every friggin' day, people that are either in the industry, you know, making product for the fishing, or, you know, people that are actually doing a ton of fishing. So good. Excited about this for sure.
Absolutely, man. This week we got a couple of guests. We got Stan from 7 Baits, and we also got David Migliore, excuse me. He is a fishing guide out of South Jersey, so stay tuned, and I hope you like it. And just remember, if you like what you see, make sure you're smashing the thumbs up button and subscribing on YouTube. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, whatever platform it may be, please leave a comment and review. It helps us go a long way. So here are the interviews. Check them out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Here we are with Stan from 7 Baits. How we doing, bud?
What's up, man? What's up, y'all?
Hey, Bob.
So what's going on down there in Louisiana?
It's right now, I know Louisiana, we normally don't get that cold of temperature, but right now it's like 34, 36 degrees. So it's chilly for us.
Sure.
Yeah, I hear that. So Aaron has told me a lot about your company, and you make some great baits out there. And do you want to just describe some for the people listening and watching?
So before I could go into the baits, I got 25 years of growing up at a fishing marina where my parents did live shrimp, croakers, all kinds of fishing stuff. And I seen that the fishing industry, that I could come up with a bait that's good, lifelike, like a minnow, and the durability. So pretty much that's what I did. And as I got into making baits, I just progressed and diagnosed, seen what worked, seen what didn't work. And I try and make a product where it's for the consumer, not for it. I do own and run a business, but I make it cost effective for the person to get the best bang for their buck.
Absolutely. And I saw a couple of videos of your baits earlier, and you picked up a car battery with a soft plastic, and it didn't rip. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So we have a product that's very similar to a comparative, but our product is a little bit better than theirs, life, more or less, durability wise. So it lasts us a little bit longer.
Yeah. So is the other company that we're talking about, not to give anybody any clout, but are we talking about the Z-Man baits?
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed some similarities, man. But I tell you this, regardless if you're hating, you know, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, it's super like, or, you know, you're a fan of Z-Man and not a fan of yours, whatever the way the kind of balance shifts, your designs, man, are like a little notch up, I want to say. Maybe more than a little notch up. You know, when it comes to the durability, Z-Man, I love that about them. So any other bait out there that offers that same durability, man, regardless like or not, I'm attracted to. And I'll tell you this, you guys offer a different variety of colors that they might not even think of stepping into. So, you know, it shows in your baits, man, that you have that kind of like, you know, knowledge behind you to where you've been on the water testing these. You've seen what works. You've seen what, you know, in a different kind of clarity is more like the bait fish you're trying to mimic. And it shows in your baits, man. It really does.
So what kind of baits exactly do you make? Is it freshwater, saltwater, a mixture of both?
Mixture of both. Actually, here we go. We're in the warehouse right now. So.
Oh, nice. This is going to be good.
Behind the looks, guys. Behind the scenes here.
So just opened a brand new pack right here. So this one right here, I'll pull it out right here. So it's a pack like this, and this one, all my baits, this bait right here is called top shelf. The reason I call it top shelf is because it's got to be top of the shelf. But all fishermen and me, I like drinking. So when you're out on the water, a lot of people like drinking beer. So I named my colors after more or less like some of them's Dirty Martini, some of them's Bloody Mary. And so that's the color name. But this one right here is it's called Blacked Out. And I caught my PB red on this color, Blacked Out. It's just a solid black. It's a solid black bait with a little bit of red flake in it.
So let me stop you there. There's a lot of bait companies, man, that like it's hard pressed to find a solid black bait. You know, like you'll find them and they'll be two-toned or they'll be black on top, white light on bottom. But to find a bait like that, ladies and gentlemen, it's a hard thing to do. I mean, there's a couple out there, but that's a good looking friggin' bait, dude.
That looks really good. Is that kind of like is that a paddle tail on there on the back?
Yeah.
That looks really good.
Yeah, so the next thing about this bait and all our baits, you'll see right here, right on the back, it says top secret scent. Well, there's a scent that my grandpa came up with and developed on the bayous and passed it on to my dad and passed it on to me. So in all our baits, we have a scent. And when you open the packs up, majority of the time, you're going to be like, whoa, whoa. But that's one of the things that we have that's a little bit different. And more you use the bait, more the scent comes out. You don't have to keep applying stuff. More you use it, more the scent for the fish, it comes out.
Yeah, that's super unique, Chris, and I know you know that, man. Being a scent guy, we have a couple sponsors that sponsor us that are primarily scent guys and scent manufacturers, and to have a bait that doesn't lose its scent over time, because I'll tell you, you go to the biggest guys, you go to Gulp. I mean, you leave one of them things on your freaking hook for long enough, that thing shrivels up as hard as a dried apricot, but. With your baits that release the scent over time, man, I mean, that's a friggin' leg up in its own, dude. It really is.
Yeah, and I mean, the worse it smells for us, the better it smells for the fish.
Yeah.
So when I open up a scent bait, I want it to be to the point where I'm about to like close to puke. So that's exactly what I want to fish with. But that paddle tail up here in the Northeast will work some magic for sure, man. I mean, I know for sure the stripers and fluke will hit that all day long.
Yeah. And one of our things, our paddle tails that we have right now, this is what I started with. And we getting rid of the paddle tail and we come out with a whole new different paddle tail. So that one's going to be coming out at the end of this year. I got to do all my testing. And that's one thing, I do my testing before I even release it to the public. So I'm hands-on to make sure, like I said, my customers and everybody gets the best product out there.
And that's good to hear, because every tackle manufacturer that's ever made it does exactly what you do, and I'm glad that you do that. That's awesome. Yeah.
So there's another bait that you have that I will tell you, Chris. Listen, man, there's a flea market that I attended years ago down here, and they had these little baits that look like a minnow. And I know this is hitting home for you. I think it's in the root beer color or the dirty water color that you have, the jawbreaker. Is that any of them ringing bells? There you go. There he is. He's off. So this friggin' bait, Chris, I'm telling you, I found them, and it was in a little package from China, and they only had 2 of them there, bro. I bought both these packs, could never find them again, and they were literally to die for down here, dude. Like, you could flip them into mangroves at Snook. I mean, the friggin' sea trout would eat them up. I mean, they were the smallest profile and like the perfect size for what I needed, and I could never find them again. And you have them.
Yeah, I'm excited. He got like 2 hands full, so I'm ready to see what we got here.
Look at these things, bro.
Ooh, that looks good.
Yeah, that's
this bait, this design of this paddle tail, it's called Willy Whacker. Willy Whacker.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about that bait if you got anything about that bait, man. And we're dying
All right.
here.
So the reason I have one color, 2, 3, 4. I have 5. So the reason that I came up with this bait right here, I'll pull this one out because this is one of our newest colors, and I'll tell you why this color is one of the most dominant ones in Louisiana. So this bait right here, if you see it,
Yeah,
right,
man.
so you see that reflector, speckled trout. This bait is designed strictly for speckled trout. All right. So speckled trout throughout all year, speckled trout go for those little glass minnows. And right in the middle of the glass minnow, they got that right there.
Yeah, man.
It looks like it's completely translucent down there in the bottom.
Yes, it is completely translucent. So this bait right here is for speckled trout. Now, next thing is the color. So the biggest thing about picking color for us in Louisiana is going to be mainly where you're fishing at. And I made that color because it's like a cockahoe / croaker color. And it's called brown sugar. It's called brown sugar.
That's what it was.
It definitely looked like some brown sugar. It looks sweet.
Right?
Yeah.
And listen, I mean, you guys that are listening, from back up north, I mean, these baits are something that I would 100% have in my tackle box. I mean, or my bag, because there's times where I've been out on on the marsh or even in these back cuts up north, and you'll see the same kind of bait profile. So you'll see glass minnows, rainfish, you'll see spearing, and they all have that kind of reflective, shape to them, to where this bait actually mimics it pretty damn well. And it's not just in that one color. He's got it in a bunch of different colors, to where, depending on the match the hatch kind of deal, you could put the science behind it and come pretty close to matching the hatch.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure in the freshwater game, man. I mean, with the brim and the shiners and stuff, that'll be a killer right there. That's definitely looks like a very versatile bait.
Yes, that's one thing. That's one thing that I try to strive on is versatility. Is one bait will work for fresh and salt. That's why on the back of my packs it says fresh and salt.
Oh, that's smart.
Absolutely.
Really smart to not limit yourself, man. Because there's guys out there, dude, just like myself, maybe don't have a bunch of money and they got one bag for everything, dude. So, I mean, when it comes to, having a bait for both, bodies of water, that's an awesome thing, dude, for real.
That's awesome, man. And is what your company sticks to is soft plastics, or do you have hard baits as well?
Only soft for right now.
Oh, some insider info right there. I like that.
Yeah.
These baits look really good, man. Is there anywhere where people can go? What website they can go to, or any stores in particular that sell your baits?
So mainly on the website, it's 7SEV7N baits.com. And you could go in there, you can make orders. Pretty much I work out of my garage. A year and a half ago I started this. I literally started with this black shelf. I know people are listening, but it's just a basic shelf in the closet. And I grew from a closet to a 14 by 16 foot room. And now I'm in a 2-car garage, and we're in the process of going out of a 2-car garage into a 5,000 square foot building within a year and a half. So
yeah, it's amazing, man. Your product speaks for itself. It really does.
Well, that's awesome, man. I'm definitely going to put a link to your website in the description below. So now that we've spoken about your baits and stuff like this, I mean, I love the fact that you're from Louisiana, because last episode we talked about dream destinations to go fishing, and for years Louisiana has been at the top of my list. For some reason, man, you boys, man, y'all got some craziness going on about there. I love it. I love it. I mean, you got everything from tuna to swordfish, speckled trout, all types of stuff, man. So, what is your primary target of fish you like to fish for all year?
So my favorite thing I love fishing for is going to be redfish. Sight casting a redfish. Yesterday morning I went out and my first cast, I just did a cast, not even where I wanted to cast at. I just threw a cast, reel in, make sure my line's all good, ready for the day. Then my second cast, I cast out and I had it was like a 26-inch red, just trailed the bait and smoke it.
Nice.
And that's my biggest thing. I like sight casting redfish. I don't know what it is about it. The hunt, going real slow, seeing it, then just pitching. Boom.
Absolutely, man. When you can look at a fish and say, I'm gonna get your ass, and just cast at him. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that beats that. You know, it's like a top waiter bite. You know, it's awesome.
Yeah, Louisiana's got that's got a special spot in my heart, man. Because the sight casting is like nowhere else. I mean, guys told me when I moved here that Florida's got sight casting, and it does. To certain times of the year, certain temperatures, everything's got to be freaking right here for sight casting to actually work. In Louisiana, man, it feels like if you could freaking see them, you can catch them, and they're ready to fucking feed, you know?
Yeah, that's freaking awesome, man. And Stan, I hope you're ready, man, because at some point this year, I'm invading Louisiana, and I'm coming over there.
We're coming for you, for sure.
We're going to toss some 7 baits out, and we're going to catch some monsters.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. Yeah, I pretty much all year round. And another thing, I have just a small Facebook group that I have, and it's called Louisiana Slammers, where I give out I went fish yesterday. Where I caught the fish at, I give the longitude and latitude position. Like, I give out all my spots. I'm not one just to be like, nope, I'm not giving out my spots. This is my honey hole. No, I give out everything.
Yeah, no, I saw that, and that's admirable, man. I even saw, I think it was a little link that you shared on TikTok about that, where you were like zooming in on your latitude and longitudes. I mean, guys, this freaking guy is making the baits for you. He's putting you on the fish. I don't know what more you want from a small mom and pop guy, but I mean, he's handing it to you on a silver platter, and I'm sure he's as easy as to communicate as he is to hear right now. So just reach out to him if you got any questions or concerns or even anything about baits, man. I'm sure he'd be happy to help you all.
I'm glad you told me about that, man. I'm already up in there. I'm coming, man. I'm coming. Well, yeah, man. Stan, it was great to have you on the show, man, and appreciate it. And if anybody wants to check your baits out, there will be a link in the description below. And thanks for stopping by, man. That was awesome.
Much appreciated, buddy.
And here we are with Dave McGlory, man. How's it going, bud?
Good. How are you guys?
Pretty good.
Good. Yeah, doing a lot better than New Jersey, man. I hear New Jersey's in a mid-freeze right now.
Yeah, I think it might be the last one though, and it seems like it's going to be short-lived. Back up and by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, like I said earlier, man. Yesterday was a beautiful day. You know, starting to think, hey, you know what? Let's go pick up a rod and go, transit around. But I woke up to snow this morning, so that kind of sucked. Yeah, how did it go?
Today was a better fishing day than yesterday, despite the temperature difference.
How did it go in South Jersey? That's where you're at, right?
Yeah, right now I just mess around with the picks and the largies, and we went to the Delaware River on Saturday morning and we fished our asses off trying to find a muskie and couldn't do it. So figured I would go there today and
the fish of 10,000 casts.
Yeah, and we don't live in the best spot to actually find one, but I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah,
Tried to go to Manasquan and we got there and it was frozen solid. So we had to divert to the Delaware.
Yeah, the Cooper River was a river that I used to fish a lot when I was back home, man, fishing for muskie, dude. And they'd surprise you in there, out in front of it was one spot where they rented boats and they did like a bunch of wedding venues. It was, I don't know if it's ringing any bells, but that spot in particular had a drain runoff, and all the muskie used to hide in that drain runoff in the winter months. And I remember that being the only freaking spot I could find these damn things, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
like to check it out. I drove by there one day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So,
let's-
so Dave, tell me a little bit about the charter business. But I know we spoke a little earlier about it. Tell me how you got kind of started in the business, dude. Where you grew up, and kind of what you're doing, today in the fishing industry.
Well, it got started. I was just as soon as I could read, I got into fishing, and when I was about, I want to say 14 or 15, my old man took us out west to like Colorado and Arizona, and we just drove around and like that's we fished and we both learned to fish together there, and like that kickstarted our fishing, me and my pop, and that's when I learned what a fishing guide was, and we spent like 5 weeks out there, and when I came back, I wanted to be a fishing guide, and then I got real into trout fishing and the Schuylkill River, which was right near where I grew up.
Yeah.
And eventually I got into guiding a little bit in college here and there, and went to Penn State, and I would guide in the Schuylkill, and I think I did a couple trips in the Tobohawken with this guy Charlie,
Mhm.
and which is basically the Schuylkill. And then my old man begged me to come down here because he was fishing down here, and like I sort of like stuck with the freshwater, got real into the trout.
Yeah.
And he said, "You got to come and check these stripers out, blah, blah, blah. They're here." And like, I had fished every summer down here when I was a kid. I would live with my grandmom for the summer, and we would ride our bikes to the bay behind Ventnor from the time I was 7. I did that every summer, and we never caught stripers. We caught plenty of weekies and flounder and bluefish and just throwing finesse and like those flat bucktails.
Oh yeah.
And so I just gave up on it. I didn't think it was that good. I got real into the trout, and then, like I was saying, my old man, begged me to come down and got to check it out. I got to check it out. So like, it was March 1st, I think it was, or 3rd, and it was like 1998 or 99, I want to say, and it was like freezing cold, and we went out on the end of the jetty, and he's like, "Here, cast this," and he hands me a G Loomis with a rattle trap on it, and I just remember ripping it up the jetty, and as soon as it got halfway back, bam!
Yeah.
And I caught like a nice, like a big schoolie, let him go, cast it out again, and like missed like a 30-pounder, and then we just caught him like every cast March 3rd, and it was the same old story that everyone says, like, "Oh man, striper fishing's easy. This is the greatest. I can't wait to come back and do it again," and then never again have I ever seen anything like that on March 3rd.
Right. No, I know the feeling,
It became the name of the game.
Yeah. There was a for a long time, Dave. I used to go out March 1st every friggin' year, dude, and I wasn't going. I was going out like Mullica River or Margate. I mean, to the end of the friggin' rock piles, and you wouldn't see really anything around that time. And then I got hip to Oyster Creek Power Plant, right? And I used to fish the life out of that power plant on March 1st. It was the only spot, man. Like everything was either frozen over, dude, or just nasty, and there was no life. And then you get to Oyster Creek, and you're like catching perch and schoolies, and you're like, "There's life. They're here,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit more spoiled than you guys because my fishing grounds is Raritan Bay, and that's where they all come up to spawn, and we catch the big 50s. It's pretty much beginning of April. They're pretty much starting to get here, but as we get into May, then the real fat cows are around here. What's your personal best, Dave?
A 51-incher that I caught in the way back bay, like 5 miles from the inlet.
Nice.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's
I
amazing
couldn't
for an
pick it
inland
up
fish.
off the ground. Yeah, I couldn't pick it up off the ground.
Goodness,
Nice.
man. So what got you to the point to where you started to stop focusing so much on freshwater and trout fishing and guiding the Schuylkill and
Was
getting
that
more?
Was that day, and then I decided that I would come down here and try to do the charter boat thing.
Yeah.
And so I moved down like a month after that for good.
The rattle trap got you.
Yeah. And then before I had come there, like I was all about the fly. Like I hated spinning rods. I hated spinning gear, and I sort of stopped with that mentality when I first came down here, and like I had to because I wouldn't have been able to learn the fish without a spinning rod. Like that was essential on actually learning where they go and what kind of retrieves they like, and then incorporating that to the fly. Soon after that, got really into Bob Popovics, who I'm actually doing a seminar up there with him and the Northeast Saltwater Fly Rodders on March 8th. And that's like he's going to be there, and a bunch of other really great New Jersey fly fishermen.
So, Dave, I'm actually, you know it. I've been messaging you back and forth quite a bit, man, about fly gear, dude. And I'm trying my best to do the transition from spinning into fly. When I was younger, I used to do a lot up in Powder County, Pennsylvania for brook trout, brown trout, rainbows, stuff like that. And we'd mess around with the fly rod from time to time, but I never took it serious till I moved down to Florida here, dude. And I meet a couple guys that are like, hardcore fly fishermen, dude. And I think the spark is lit again. So, we'll be talking soon on getting myself a fly.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one type of fishery that, in my opinion, is like the only fishery that actually takes a skill. Because, like, look, I can fish the hell out of a spinner. I'm not really a bait caster, conventional guy. But the one time I casted a fly rod, man, I mean, I was totally out of my element. And to hear you say that you put down the fly rod to go with the spinners, that's really rare, because every fly fisherman that I know, they're like super diehards. Screw a spinner. Yeah. That's for a rookie. So that's very different to hear, and that's pretty good.
Well, it's not really, they're different games. It's like the difference between racquetball and tennis.
Yeah.
Right? Like totally different.
Yeah, and I'm starting to pick up.
I'm never going to pick up the spinner rod again.
Yeah.
But for right now, I'm hooked on the fly. It's good.
Yeah, and I'm starting to pick up on that fact that there's more science and more technique behind fly fishing. And Chris knows, man, I'm such a science freak when it comes to figuring out all the ins and outs of my fishery, to where I feel like fly fishing is that next level, that next step of being able to fine tune my craft, if you say,
It really is. It really is.
So when you started
really
the business. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Real quick, I was bouncing this idea around is like what we do for stripers and what I do for the picks.
Yeah.
And like for muskie, we really shouldn't be calling it fly fishing, because we're streamer fishing.
Okay.
Which is, you use a fly rod, but you're stripping it in. So like you can, down by you can actually fly fish. You could drift to bones. You could throw floating crabs to redfish. So, that was just a thought I thought I should throw in there.
No, like to me, what's crazy about the fly rod setup and this fly reel is like there's no real. Well, majority of fly reels don't have drag systems. I got a buddy of mine, Captain Jose Bastos. He goes up every year to somewhere upstate to go salmon fishing, and I was just like, "Yo, wear a GoPro for me just so I can watch and see how it is," because unfortunately I couldn't get up there with him. And he caught this steelhead, man, and this thing took off like a freaking silver bullet. And I'm looking at him, your drag system is your hand. And I'm like, how does that work? Like, if I did that, I'd probably hold it too tight and snap off the line. So like, is there like a certain way that you should do that?
Basically, I just pinch the line to the grip.
Okay.
And you can control your drag like that. If you're holding it too hard and the fish wants to go and you're making a mistake, then you're going to get a big, huge groove burn in your finger. Yeah. So you learn to not make mistakes quick.
Yeah.
Like after the first second. So that's pretty much the way to do it. Other than that, I'm sure he was talking about this part of the reel here.
Yeah.
And you just lay your hand on it like that.
Yeah. Exactly what he was doing.
But like most saltwater reels nowadays, they all have quality drags. Like,
that's what I've heard.
Like a lot of people claim that you shouldn't fly fish because you're playing with the fish. Like a fly rod, my 10 weight can put double the pressure on a fish than your 12 to 20 spinning rod can.
Wow.
It's like got so much backbone and strength to it. that
Right.
a spinning rod doesn't really have. So that's not true. And then like the drags in these reels, they're easy to make awesome drags in, like much easier than a spinning reel.
Okay.
You can,
All right.
Yeah, I'm a diehard spinner guy, man. I've been fishing spinners since I was young. Started off with Daiwa because that's what my dad likes to use, and my favorite reel to use these days is the Shimano Stratic. That's my favorite reel. It's got a badass bearing system in it, and I think that there's nothing better when it comes to spinning reels. But then again, that's just my opinion.
I can't say I don't agree. As long as you're buying one every year.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I've actually been using the same one for 4 years, man, and I got quite quite an inventory in the basement from when I first got into the Shimano's. I bought a few, because I always like to have a backup in case something happens. But I've never had a
I gotta
problem with
agree
this
with you.
one.
They're the best. They're the best.
Yeah.
Most fishable, hands down.
Yeah, I always had the Stratic FG, and then I went to I bought a C14. And that freaking reel is just freaking awesome.
Yeah,
It's like churning butter.
I agree.
Dave, when you kind of integrated the fly fishing to the back of Margate and Ventnor, man, I'll tell you, I grew up in that area, and I don't remember a lot of guys fly fishing the backwaters there, dude, at all. So was it something that like you had someone to look up to and kind of guide you back there, or was it something that you just decided to try one day? And how did
I was
that
just
get
into
started?
fly. I was just super into fly fishing, and we took vacations up to Maine and to Martha's Vineyard, and it's just I got into Bob Popovics, and I just always wanted to fly fish. But like Van Dyne and David Nicholas, they fly fish and have for years.
Mhm.
I don't know Jesse, he fly fishes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have a question. How many stripers have you caught on the fly?
I way too many to count, man.
Yeah.
Because a buddy of mine and what you call it, he used to be the Field and Stream fishing editor or junior editor, Joe Cermelli.
I've
And
heard his name. I like
I
watching the shows a lot.
yeah,
I like how he's
I
on to the pickerel.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I grew up watching his videos, and the dude, I mean, besides just being a cool ass dude, I mean, he's a pretty damn good angler, and he's a hardcore fly guy. And I remember seeing him inside Raritan Bay whipping his freaking 9-foot whipstick, and I'm like, flies in April. Not really sure about that. And I just see this thing go pow, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh
They're
crap.
actually the best for the stripers in the cold weather. They have a
Yeah.
clear advantage when it's cold.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Man.
it's wild, man. So when you got started in the guiding in the back of Margate and Ventnor and that area there, was it straight off with the boat, or did you guide off land for a while? Did you bring guys around?
That
the
was
rock
straight off
piles?
with the boat. I knew that no one was going to really take me seriously unless I did the whole captain license thing. And
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. And I'm a
like
boat guy.
if I lived out west or I was a muskie guide, I could do the drifts and not have it. But
Right.
around here, you got to have it. Or
Yeah.
else you're not taken seriously.
I
No,
hear
for
you.
sure.
I mean, fishing vertical as opposed to going out is always a better chance of catching fish anyway. So the point of being a guide or a captain is you want to get them on the fish. So that's obviously the best move to do.
Yeah.
So Dave, what was your if you had to pick one day of last year, because I know we're in the middle of a cold front and it's just nasty in New Jersey, dude, but if you had to pick one day of last year that would be your best charter or even a personal day for yourself, what would that have looked like, and what was that?
Good question. We had a lot of good days last year. It might have been, there was like a 10-day period. I want to say the third to last week of December. And I live right next to Kennedy Park. There's a boat launch, and it's right on the Grand Harbor Bay there. And like all the nice fish just started running back up the river because I don't know if you remember, it was super warm. So they all just started coming back in the river. And one day I went out myself and, caught, I'm going to say like 6 keepers, and one was like a nice big 12-pounder that I saw in like super clear water, like eat in like a foot of water, he just came right up and whaled the fly like 20 feet from the boat. But
Oh yeah.
about a week later, I went with my buddy Joe, who's a real good fly tyer, and I said to him, "All right, now you should hook all the fish because I'm driving the boat." So I like it when I take guys out that actually outfish me the whole time because that's the way it should be. Because I'm like
Absolutely.
pulling the boat up, they should be aggressive and they should be throwing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's our job as captains.
Yeah, yeah. So he, about 6 nice fish, and then I went to a spot. I'm just learning the GE River because I spend most of my time Ventnor, Margate, and Atlantic City.
Yeah.
So it's like a new world up here where I live now in Summers Point, and I came almost to here a lot in my old boat from Ventnor and Margate, but not quite as far as I've been. And I just found this spot one day that I was just saying, dude, we got to come back here on the right day and blah, blah, blah. So it's like the GE River's pretty deep, and it, comes in past the parkway and twists around. And there's this one spot where it's just this shallow shelf that sticks way out into the river. And there's this island. You might know where I mean.
No, it's all sounds familiar.
There's these ruts through it. And I just said, all right, on the right day. So I said, Joe, there's got to be one here. Just rip the cast out. So he does, he doesn't get a take. He doesn't get a take. So like I start getting my line ready. And next thing I know, I look over and he's hogged down. And it was one of the nicest ones we got on the flats of the year,
Nice.
Wow, really nice, man.
Nice big 15, 16 pounder, I guess.
That's quality. They're all quality fish, man. There's been I would bounce when I was back home. I was in like Hamilton area to make it easier for everybody listening. I was like in a Hamilton area, and I would drive to Brigantine, or I would drive to the Mullica, or I would drive Margate, Ventnor, or GE. So there was different times depending on where the fish were. I would bounce all in between them areas, but I would never stick around long enough to learn the river like it sounds like you have, dude. And I always regretted that, because I just knew.
Lifetime. You could spend a lifetime learning that river.
Yeah, so I would always try and find when the perfect time was, but I always knew in my heart, man, that there had to be other seasons and other times that the fishing was just quality back there, dude.
Yeah, I think of what I'm thinking the last few years is they come there starting in late November and they stack up there until the spring.
Yeah,
run back out. And I think as this winter goes on, more and more show up.
Right,
and
right.
They're their own strain. They're not like the same fish that are up in Raritan Bay. They're like definitely born in that river, and they definitely return to that river.
More residential fish.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've been seeing a lot in South Jersey, and I have fished Summers Point quite a few times. There's a spot that we call it Beer Pier, right next to the liquor store, next to the bridge that goes over into Ocean City.
Yeah, I live I could throw a stone to there from where I live.
Yeah. So one of the clubs that I'm in, the Atlantic City Saltwater Anglers, the president lives down there, and I fished with him quite a few times. What I like seeing about every time I go to South Jersey is a lot of species that we used to catch up here in the Raritan Bay basically disappeared. Like, we don't see whiting up here no more. Back in the day, me and my pops used to go to Cliffwood Beach, and we'd catch weak fish. And I'm not talking about weak fish. I'm talking about weak fish. But after Hurricane Sandy, Cliffwood Beach is like a really crappy spot now. But the weak fish population in South Jersey has been really good. The kingfish has been really, really good. And the stripers are still swimming through there like crazy. And South Jersey is a really good fishing destination for a lot of people that don't know. Atlantic City, Summers Point, that whole area is pretty good. And if you got guys like Dave down there who are chartering, take advantage. And
if you like the shallow water thing and you like red fishing, like largemouth bass fishing, then it's a perfect fishery, and it's just becoming popular now.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, so the fishing is always going to be something that you can't predict every single day, but when you got a guide who's out there every day and knows where they've been, what they're feeding on, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And I just hope that a lot of people take advantage of that and come see you and check you out. Is there a website or an Instagram or something they can look you up?
Yeah, there's an Instagram. They could just look me up on Instagram.
It's what
I
name is
might
that?
get a YouTube channel going on. It's David McGlory.
Okay. Put a link to that in the description below.
Yeah, Dave, you gotta get a YouTube channel going, buddy. Because I'm telling you right
Yeah,
now,
I think I want to. I just got the camera in. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
could get some good footage.
One of
I mean,
my
some of the
favorite
things-
local guys, dude, for sure, man. You know.
It's not that hard filming. Editing takes a little bit of work, but if I can do it, I'm sure you can.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing the channel, man, for sure. Yeah, so what's in the future for Dave, man? Does Dave see himself like, I know we spoke earlier, not overrunning the friggin' charter business, dude, but do you see yourself like, becoming more in tuned with the Great Egg Harbor, or do you want to do more exploring in different parts of New Jersey? Like, where do you see yourself in the next year coming even?
Hey, well, I'm gonna stay around here because I love it. I can't get enough of it. I could spend 2 lifetimes learning spots around here. There's nooks and crannies for 30 miles in each direction, and it's all got fish. There's no lack of spots or fish. I want to concentrate on the fly and take guys that blow guys' minds that thought they had to go to Montauk for good striper fishing because, despite the fish, I think my biggest fish last year was 23 pounds. We're going to have a year where we just crush 50 pounders right here. It's just a matter of time. And it's like every year is a dice roll. And it's like a really cool area.
You see, I really like hearing stuff like that because it seems like fly fishing is starting to become kind of a lost art. And like I said earlier, I think that it's a fishery that definitely takes skill, and it's something cool for people to learn. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been fishing 30 years, and I picked up a fly rod once in a parking lot just to see what it's like to cast a fly rod. But still, that's still something I'd like to learn, and that's something that a lot of people should take advantage of and just not forget how.
Just about anyone,
I
could. Me and any other fly guide could have them casting decently to catch fish in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Of course, awesome. It takes a couple years to perfect.
Right.
But, you could catch fish on it right away. Like my buddy Alex, he just picked it up one day and started catching, and now he's getting fly rods built and everything.
Well, that's Dave, awesome. I'm happy to know you're going to be sticking around South Jersey, man, because I didn't stick around for too long, but I hope to find my way back to you, bro. There's I do know when we were talking about fly fishing, dude, you were kind of telling me you were getting into building, and you wanted to start either maybe manufacturing or building or putting together your own rod line. Like, how's all that coming into play?
I mean, I make just as much money off of that as I do guiding, and I recommend everyone gets a high-end rod made because when it comes to fly fishing, they sell these beginner lines. And I don't know if you ever watched that little blonde hair kid on YouTube that catches the pike all the time.
Maybe. I've watched a lot of YouTube.
I've watched every single one of his videos, but I heard him say he's got to be like 19.
Yeah.
So he said, don't buy the beginner lines. Go right out and get the most expensive fly line you could find and get the most expensive equipment, because otherwise, you're going to get frustrated and you're going to be unsatisfied with your experience and think that you don't know how to fly fish, when really it's because you bought this beginner stuff, and that's a damn good point.
Right. Yeah.
That's a big investment, though. I've seen some.
But it's not too much.
I've seen some fly rods that go for about like $900.
Yeah. So it's more about the line, and it's more about the line. Like, get a good line. I mean, you can get a decent fly rod for $160. That's like real good. Go to Bass Pro Shops. When Bass Pro Shops opened in Atlantic City, I opened the fly shop for them.
Oh, nice.
I stocked up the rods, so I know their entire inventory. They still got the same stuff that I put on the shelves up, and they have a lot of nice blanks there for around 125, 160. I think there's one series called the Flame series or something that was like 179. That was a great series, and that's just one company. There's hundreds of companies out there.
Yeah, no, you can't beat that.
Yeah,
can't beat that at all. Are these blanks now, Dave? Are you purchasing a blank and then, custom making this for an order, or are these blanks something that you're designing yourself and then building the rod? Like, how's that being put together?
I'm trying to get into the getting a 1-piece 9-weight manufactured for me that I could start selling. It's like a $3,500 investment,
Right.
but I hope to get that within the next few years.
Oh, that would be awesome, man. Yeah.
Get that, but for now, like companies like Blue Halo and Temple Fork Outfitters, they all give me their pro staff pricing.
Sweet.
And they're good, Rob.
It's a start in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's fun, and like I don't even try to build them fancy. Like guys are real into the weaves and all, which I tried to get into and I did for a little, but in my mind it just adds bulk to the rod. I like the G Loomis style of building, like light, like nothing that you don't need on the rods. And
I agree, man.
All that extra fancy crap is not worth it.
No.
It's just weight, and it hurts your elbow, especially on the fly.
I've been saying that for years. It's function over form,
Yes.
It's like Loomis, they call him the best rod builder for a reason, because he is the best rod builder.
Right.
He was the first one to do that.
Listen, I'll tell you, I went out to a fishing flea market years ago. It was like a little, I don't want to call it a convention, dude, but it was a fishing flea market, and he was there, and I had him sign a friggin' hat. And I literally treasured that thing, dude, because I really believe in that, man. Like, I hold my rods and my reel combos to like such a high standard when it comes to weight, dude, because I feel like if I'm literally pitching this thing all day for hours, or I have even someone, on the boat that's paying me, I don't want them throwing this big ass heavy Penn Senator, dude. Like, I want something that's literally refined to do the fishing we're doing, and a lot of guys don't think about that, man. They're, maybe they haven't gotten to that point or whatnot.
Different species, like a bluefin or a cobia. I don't mind the heavy stuff because I'm going to see one, I'm going to make one cast, and I'm going to catch them. Right. You're fishing back there and on the flats down in Florida. Like even though I've never been there, I'm sure you're making 1,000 casts.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And covering water.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you guys mean. My heaviest rod is 7 ounces.
Right.
I'm all about the light tackle.
Yeah, which ain't that heavy. I mean, it's pretty light.
Yeah, for sure. Well, my guy, dude, it's been friggin' amazing talking to you, dude, and I'm sure we can go on for hours. If there's any kind of channel or any kind of website or any kind of anything that you want to plug, dude, now's the time, and please let the public know, bro, because I mean, if I found you and listen, I'm hoping you're still there when I get there, then I'm hoping somebody else will think the same, man, and look you up, dude.
Cool, man. Yeah, I mean, my name is Dave McGlory. You could find me by searching Instagram or Twitter. You could stop at Tight Lines in Summers Point, and they got my business cards and my brochures in there. You could, I think that's the best way. You could send me an email.
Yeah.
And I'll get the YouTube thing together because it's pretty amazing what I get to see on, if not every day, every other day at the furthest apart.
No, for sure. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want a guide, I mean, this man I'm sure is booked, but if you want a guide that is running skinny water, man, and he calls New Jersey home, dude, and knows the backwaters of New Jersey, and I mean, is literally in tune with these striped bass, I'm sure that's not all he's catching. So, I mean, if you want the flounder, the weak fish, I mean, including that striper, this is the guy, dude. If I can point one guy,
giant bluefish show up.
Yeah.
What was that, Dave?
I'm hoping those giant bluefish show up for April just to change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I love the bass, but other things are nice when they come. We had nice weekies last year.
Yeah, bluefish on a light tackle, man.
I would say weekies are 30% recovered.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Go, but they're there now.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Because right before I left, dude, it was scarce, man. Like they were one of them elusive unicorns. When you got one, you were like happy as hell.
8% of what they used to be. Yep.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man.
They're back up to about 30. You could almost go out and target them anywhere now, like you could.
Oh, thank God.
That's good, man. Well, guys, this is Dave McGlory. Thanks for coming on, bud. Appreciate it. Great talking to you.
Yeah, man.
Same, man. Have a nice night.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's guest. Once again, if you like what you see, smash that thumbs up button, and hit the subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, comments go a far way, guys. So, or a long ways. So, it helps us and it helps the programs and it helps the platforms find other fishermen like us and like yourselves to connect with and kind of put our, podcast in front of them. So, even if it's a bad comment, guys, we'll take it. So make sure you're on there, subscribe, follow along. And we're on a bunch of other podcast platforms, on a bunch of different social media platforms. So you can find us in many different lights. And I hope you guys enjoy the guest that we just had, because we sure did. That's for sure.
Absolutely, man. Well, he's Aaron, I'm Chris, and we're out. Tight lines.